All right. Kind of going through some burnout right now, so I'm just gonna make a really short video. This is the last 3 days of my schedule. It's just been really crazy. Literally waking up at 8 a.m., grinding until fucking midnight, and then go to sleep, wake up, and grind. Um, and yeah, I just wanted to talk about kind of what I think allows me to do it and how, I guess, how to deal with the burnout. I think a lot of the time burnout is almost like an overstimulation. And by the way, burnout is such like a general term, because you can't it's not like a heart attack where you just say, "Oh, he had a heart attack." No, like burnout I think is different for other people. Some people have a panic attack, some people just get bored or something. For me, I tend to kind of get overwhelmed and bored at the same time. And the one habit that I started doing basically in November is just kind of staring at the wall. So I had this app. Oh, I don't have my phone with me, but I had this app called OneSec. I'll actually show you. So um, if I go to my extensions, it's an extension called OneSec, and it's also an app on your phone. I paid $20 a month, or not $20 a month, $20 a year. So it's pretty cheap, and it's really nice, and it's free on Chrome if I can find it. I turned it off because I kind of stopped having a problem with YouTube. Yo, am I like blind, dude? One sec. I am blind. You must have been watching this video like, it's right fucking there, idiot! So let's try to fire up YouTube. And it does this. Every time. Actually, the crazy thing about this is every time. So we'll continue to YouTube and then start like watching a video. This guy's really funny. And then if I even just go back to my calendar and then I come back to YouTube, it does this. So it's really nice because all of a sudden, instead of kind of watching YouTube, just putting it on the background, just fucking having that stimulation, if you're watching YouTube, you have to watch YouTube. You can't do anything else, otherwise your video pauses and you have to wait again. And on my phone, it's the maximum 2 minute delay. So if I want to open Instagram, I don't think I've opened Instagram on my phone in like probably close to a week because it takes so long. It's like I really gotta want it. I really gotta have something to do on there. And so yeah, you press open, you set your phone down, you wait while it opens, and this kind of plays into the overall theme of kind of depriving yourself of dopamine. The crazy thing is that people back in the day, like, even 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they didn't have shit like this. Maybe they had newspapers or something to read. But nowadays, like, a newspaper is like dopamine detox mode. Like, you're fucking monk mode if you're reading. Um, and I think there's something to be said for that because today I was feeling so burned out. I basically couldn't get anything done this morning, and then today I got some stuff done. I took a shower. I'm trying to break the record of longest time without a shower. Unfortunately, I had to take one today. And yeah, and from here to here, I basically didn't do shit. I just like sat there. I just laid on my couch. I took a little nap. And other than that, I just kind of stared at the ceiling or at the wall. And it feels good to be able to do that. Like when I do kind of have the energy or the ability to go back to what I was doing, you know, it's going to be way easier while I was just working before this. And it's actually way easier than it was earlier today because I can just sit there and stare at a wall and be happy, you know? How easy is work after you've just been staring at a wall? It's a lot easier, you know? You get to listen to music, you get to move a mouse around. it's just fucking not that hard in comparison to staring at a wall. So, yeah, I think that's my main kind of takeaway. Like, it seems like every time I've burned out in the past, I would kind of cope. You know, burnout is a terrible feeling. At least in my how it happens to me is I'll kind of lose interest in everything I'm doing. I'll be tired and overwhelmed and bored at the same time. And it's almost like an inescapable feeling. And I'll just cope, you know? I'll drink or smoke some weed or hang out with friends, watch something, play something. There's a million different distractions. And I think that, like, if you can just avoid that and just kind of sit there and do nothing, like I was saying earlier, like people 200 years ago, that's what they did, bro. They were probably more productive, you know? They probably weren't just, you know, brain rot to them was fucking the cartoons in the newspaper, if they even had that. And, yeah, now there's just infinite ways to rot your brain. And you can lose track, you can go off the rails so quickly. You know, if you start getting a little bit burned out and tired, and then you're like, dude, I'm just gonna play some video games. Well, guess what's more fun than working? Maybe a game that's designed to be fun. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but maybe. And so, what tends to happen, as with most of these vices, is they're addictive, and you just start going down this rabbit hole. And the last time you did work, it wasn't fun because you felt burned out, and so now you're just gonna do this other thing forever. And so that's how you kind of get in a loop of, you know, fucking doing drugs or, well, I'm not saying this is every time you get in a loop, but I think the entrepreneur way to kind of lose sight of your progress is to get in a loop of, you know, watching TikTok or playing video games or whatever, or doing drugs. You know, I don't want to discriminate against those druggy um, entrepreneurs. I saw a guy today when I was walking. His shirt said, "I heart people that do drugs." Nice. Um, but yeah, that's the video. Don't really have too much interesting to speak about because I didn't really get anything done today. It kind of blows. At the same time, I mean, you know, it's unavoidable. I'll try to publish an update when I figure out how to avoid burnout and how to have consistent weeks and months like these last 3 days. I mean, these last 3 days have just been crazy. I've been fucking grinding it out. And it's honestly been awesome. You know, you feel so much better when you're working and when you're working on shit that you find interesting and meaningful, you know? I really think it's the best way to live, but entrepreneurship as well as life, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I chose entrepreneurship. It was because honestly, like this sounds dumb to say out loud probably, but when I was in like high school or middle school or whatever, talking to girls, I love that emotional roller coaster, dude. You would like send them a text and be like, "I like you," and they would be like, "I like you too," and you're just soaring, bro. You're like, "Bro, I'm fucking goated," and then, you know, the next day she doesn't reply for like 12 hours, and you're just in this pit of despair. You're like, "Fuck my life, dude." um, but that's fun, you know. It kind of adds this dimension to your life where you have something you care about, and it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. Like, you actually have this kind of up and down. You have, you know, compared to someone in a normal job, you probably have a lot higher highs and a lot lower lows, and you have to be okay with that. You know, you kind of have to find peace in it. You know, I didn't understand this term of peace because people would say, "Oh, you have to have inner peace," blah blah blah, and really what it means is this inner conflict or this cognitive dissonance. I think that's the right term, where you know, probably the least amount of peace you could be in is when you have an assignment or a project that you're working on, and you pull out your phone and go on TikTok, and an hour later you're still on TikTok, and you want to stop watching TikTok, you want to have this project, you wish you had been working for the last hour, but you're on TikTok, and your mind is telling you, you're such a fucking loser, you should be doing this, but your kind of lizard brain is telling you, no, go on TikTok, keep scrolling. The lizard brain is dumb. And where was I going with that? Yeah, so that's basically an example of where you're at low peace. High peace is where you have a project, you're working on it, you're making progress, you feel good. And it doesn't mean that everything in your life is peaceful and boring. It means that you're aligned, basically. That's basically what it means. It's another word for alignment, at least in my interpretation. So, yeah, I think even when you're kind of burnt out or just tired or whatever, the way that you can achieve that peace is just sitting there. Like, you know you're not going to be productive anyways. So don't go on your phone, don't watch something, don't create some new addiction that's going to haunt you tomorrow. Just sit there. Honestly, today I've been so retarded. Like, I just sat and thought. And there wasn't a lot going on upstairs, you know? Frankly, I still don't think there is. Like, I was looking at my cats. You know, cats are hilarious because they just sit there. They might be looking down. You know, they like to be up. But sometimes they just sit directly facing a wall. And you're like, why? There's nothing going on up there. And that's how I felt today, you know? Just like tired or worn out or whatever. And I'm just fucking staring at a wall. And yeah, long story short, be okay with it. Like it. And yeah, the whole point is to have more days where you're taking steps forward than taking steps back. Not moving is better than taking a step back, you know? If you are burnt out, you're like, fuck this, dude, I'm gonna go fucking get hammered, bro. Go out, get hammered, have a great time with your boys. Not saying you shouldn't do that, but if you did that, and then you were hungover the next day, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna watch some fucking TV, blah, blah, blah. Then you're taking a step back, you know? You're making yourself dumber, more tired. You're spending money. You're losing focus. And so, if you can just not do anything, that's 0 steps. You're not going forward or backwards, but at least you're not going backwards, you know? Because it's kind of impossible to go forwards all the time. So, anyways, that's the video. Make sure to smash that like button. We want to get to 1 million subscribers by tomorrow. So, hopefully this video blows up. Alright.